Following program contains nudity and may not be suitable for younger viewers. Parental discretion is suggested.
Deep in Brazil's rainforest, close to the borders of Colombia and Peru, is a remote, unexplored region. It is called the Javari Valley. Inside this isolated jungle valley, there are 5 uncontacted tribal groups, each numbering between 400 and 600 people. Unless they are under threat, they are left in complete isolation. This film is about a first contact with one of these groups, now seriously endangered, the Korubo. FUNAI is Brazil's government agency for the protection of indigenous peoples. It brings medical attention and assistance against violent outsiders to the inhabitants of remote regions. Sidney Posuelo is the director of FUNAI's Contact Front. He's an international legend, a veteran of 7 other successful but highly dangerous first contacts in the Amazon. 7 FUNAI employees have already been killed in 3 previous attempts to make contact with the Korubo. Bina, on the right, is a Métis Indian, a group themselves contacted only 10 years ago by FUNAI. He's a vital link for Sidney and the contact team. His mother is Korubo. These pictures are the only surviving images of a small group of Korubo who separated from the larger tribe after a dispute over a woman. While the main tribe remained safely hidden in the valley, this smaller breakaway group moved dangerously close to outsiders and made it necessary to mount a contact expedition. FUNAI set up a permanent base camp on the riverbed at the mouth of the Javari Valley. The first action for Sidney and his team was to clear the new base camp of malaria, a disease not naturally present in the jungle and to which the Korubo have no natural immunity. With government legislation protecting Indian lands throughout Brazil, Sidney and his men put up signs at the entrance to the valley prohibiting further intrusions into Indian territory. Just half a day by boat from the protected rainforest are thriving settlements. Here, thousands of settlers exploit the natural resources of the region. In addition to the 7 FUNAI deaths, 43 Korubo Indians and 9 white people, as the Korubo call outsiders, have been killed. The Korubo have also begun to contract malaria as a result of encroaching settlements. At one such killing in 1989, 3 Korubo bodies were taken out of the river by the federal police. Tepe, also a Métis Indian and contact team member, explained.
Here is where the white men were hiding. The Korubo came up here, and as they came, the white men shot them. Only one Korubo got away.
This man, who was also present at the same killings, has a different story to tell.
At the moment that they wanted to attack me and my wife and my 2 children, I had to kill.
In another unexpected conflict, this woman's father was killed by the Korubo.
They killed him on the trail when he went off to collect some bananas. His companions were in front of him, they went ahead. Later on the trail, he was killed. His companions found him dead, with his stomach opened, his leg cut off, and his head was crushed.
The Korubo must know that in this hostile universe around him, that there are people who are not going to aggress him. If they don't know this, they will go on attacking and being attacked until they disappear.
Using satellite photography and an aeroplane, Sidney Pasuelo was able to locate an area deep inside the Javari Valley where the breakaway Korubo had built a maloca, or hut. In October 1996, the contact team advanced deep into the valley interior. It consisted of a large party of 40 armed men, including local Indians and a handful of journalists, hoping to record for the first time contact with the Korubo. After 4 long months of searching and leaving gifts to demonstrate their peaceful intentions, the contact team discovered a temporary hunting shelter next to a maize field. It belonged to the Korubo.
Eu tenho medo. Eu tenho medo, sim. Eu tenho medo. E acho, de certa forma, até bom.
Yes, I am afraid. I think, in a way, it is good to be afraid. But you have to dominate your fear, so that it does not get greater than you need for the work. It is good to be afraid, because that makes you take precautions. And we have taken a lot of precautions.
E nós queremos ser cheios de precauções.
As the FUNAI team approached, the Korubo deserted the village and disappeared. More gifts were left.
Fala.
Ele está chamando ela. Está por lá.
Fala.
Then, 5 days later,
agora nós vimos 2. Nós vimos 2, Ademar, bem aqui. Eles estão gritando lá.
Para de falar aí, gente. Não vai deixar não. Vem chegando pra cá. Vem indo pra cá. Aí. Vai chegando pra cá. Pode ir tirando fotografia que eu já tirei aqui. Aí mesmo já vai tirando foto.
carefully, Sidney instructed the armed members of his team.
Pode deixar, não, deixa a arma aí mesmo. É bom que ele sabe que nós estamos
The Korubo seem both curious and confused about the contact team. Little is known and understood of the Korubo language. The man waving his arms we now know is called Shishun. Although we cannot see it, he keeps his left leg close to his club, hidden in the undergrowth. The more inquisitive female is called Maya. Sidney, who had waited many years for this moment, was elated. But from past experience, he knew another violent episode was still a possibility.
Vamos, pessoal, vamos chamando ele.
Ninguém passa por lado do pau, cuidado pra...
Vai pra...
A camera reflection becomes a concern. The contact team remains cautious, given the Korubo's volatile reputation. At all times, they consider the presence of their clubs still within easy reach. To guarantee continued safe contact, Sydney is anxious to persuade the Korubo to move away from the maize field and their clubs to join his camp, where they can more easily be distracted from violence.
Vamos andando, vamos indo, vamos indo.
La boîte, oh, putain, ouais, t'as pas.
Aqui, ó, vem com a gente.
Vem com a gente.
Vem com a gente.
Allez, vem com a gente. Này, cho bớt, cho. Này, bớt, cho.
Five Indians with us.
Tá, companheiro. Ainda bem. Ótimo. Vou manter que é teu, capa.
Positivo, hein? Positivo. Okay.
Positive. Everything is okay. They are well. One of them has a little fever. We have to give them medicine. They are here mixing everything up, which is quite normal. Thanks to God, it was all okay. And the first contact has been made. Over. Okay, companion, I will stay on the line.
Ó, capa, até mais tarde.
Okay, speak to you later.
Okay.
Ai, anche. Ai, mẹ.
Oh,
Ai.
One of the contact team, recently converted to Christianity, feels compelled to hide Shishun's nakedness.
Fica lá. Outra, não queima. Aí, agora eu vou tirar a tua lá. Vai lá perto dele, rapaz. Aproveita um pouquinho.
Vou venir a penita.
Deixa só os profissionais tirarem. O meu é para depois. Você não ficar em cima com fotografia. Deixa os profissionais tirarem fotografia, que já não está precisando eles. Depois nós tiramos, deixa eles ficarem mais tranquilos, estar à vontade, mexendo nas coisas.
E te para.
Vem para os...
Ai.
Sentir aí à vontade.
Leva para mim. Bora.
Maya then helps herself to a cooking pot, concealing it under her t-shirt. It may be that she believes that the contact team cannot see it.
Normalmente os índios, nos seus primeiros contatos, têm as suas ervas.
Normally, the Indians, at the first contact, they have their herbs, which they rub over the white man to calm him.
Para amansá-los, para mantê-los calmos, para não fazer nenhum mal.
So that we don't do anything bad to them. And these, which he's got hidden under his shirt, passing over the head to everyone. That's it. So in their heads, they are making contact with us. That's for sure. That's what it is. But the white man has to take a lot of precautions.
Soon, Shishun and Maya and the other Korubo who have joined them have changed into many different t-shirts and caps. Maya shows a keen interest in Beatrice, one of the journalists. Her curiosity about Beatrice's gender is soon answered. But then, the Korubo who made contact with Sydney and his team for a few precious hours suddenly vanished into the jungle.
Eles tiram a tua camisa, tiram o teu boné, tiram as coisas
They tear the clothes of you. And then, once they are in the jungle, they leave it all behind.
Talvez seja até uma manifestação assim meio de...
Sometimes it appears like as if they are collecting trophies.
Ela pegou facão e levou. Não, vai esconder, pode levar.
The contact team waited uneasily for a further 2 days.
Quem quiser ter amigo e me ver amar. Quando pacífico, quando tudo bem.
When it is peaceful and everything is fine, you cannot let down your guard because the history of these people is such that concerning the violence and the death and the attacks always start after the first contact. With us, it is going to be different, certainly. It is going to be different. It appears the Indians are coming now. They are coming here. They are calling.
Grita, pode gritar.
Sydney ordered that all pots, guns and machetes were to be hidden. Keeping his team together maintained safety in numbers. Calling and alerting the Korubo that they knew they were near displayed a strength and confidence. Bina calls from the edge of the camp.
Hey people, come over this side. Don't go over there. Stay here.
Sydney and Bina greeted the Korubo as they entered the base camp for a second time. This time, they carried some kind of liquid in a clay pot. Fearing it might be poisonous, Bina rejected the potion. So did everybody else.
Eu não falo mais isso. Não, esse bicho quer brincar. Sim, tá bom. Aí. Matisse, ele Matisse. Noi asne. Venona. Susha. Matte, faccio buon.
Tem muita ali, vai ser. Ei, quer pulseira aqui? Eu. Quer pulseira aqui? Cadê? Aqui, aí, botar aqui.
Mulțumesc. Ceas, na vina. Cianca. Na, e cianca. Cianca. Thank you, Mama. Bucci. Oh, Mama. What? Nibble. Mana. What at that?
With contact more secure, Shishun and Maya brought the women and children into Sydney's camp. By the end of the fourth day, Sydney and the Métis Indians had managed to establish a fragile trust between the contact team and the Korubo. The Korubo moved closer to Sydney's main camp at the mouth of the Javari Vale, where he could protect them from intruders and administer medical treatment. Now, a more permanent safe contact seemed possible.
At 9 Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel.
With the Korubo settled on the bank opposite the main post, Sydney was optimistic.
Maya? Takpan ikene men? Ikene men da? Eh. Ikenek tak? Takpan ikenek? Mashisho.
But things were about to take a turn for the worse. Sobral, a close friend of Sydney and veteran of several previous first contacts, was in charge of the contact team while Sydney was away. He was on the riverbank with the Korubo, as he had been many times before. He was taking photographs of some of the Korubo.
Sobral got down here to take a photo. And then a Korubo took his club, and I cried out, "Watch out for the club!" And the Korubo hit him over here with his club, and Sobral fell down. And then another Korubo club hit him here. And we came very quickly and took him away over to the base camp.
When he heard of Sobral's death, Sydney was devastated.
We had a companion who was killed right here. He was here just like we are now. The only thing that will stop a possible attack is that they are aware that our protection against their violence is the presence of our guns.
The Korubo, fearing a revenge attack for the killing of Sobral, fled into the jungle and were once more uncontactable and in danger. Sydney removed anyone who was involved with the incident. The remaining team members were instructed not to discuss this incident with the Korubo should they ever return to the main camp. For many months, still intent on finding and protecting them, Sydney's team took every opportunity to look for the Korubo, but with no success. But just a few months later, the rainforest would yield its secrets once more, and a few Korubo would appear occasionally on the riverbank opposite Sydney's main camp. Months and years passed, and despite the tragic climax of the first expedition, the safety of the Korubo remained a burning issue for Sydney Pozuelo. Sydney becomes increasingly concerned about their welfare and decides to mount another but smaller expedition. Once more, Bina is Sydney's right-hand man. The expedition will require a great deal of careful planning. Sydney briefs his Métis team members about the expedition objectives.
Aí a gente se encontra aqui, aí a gente vai 10 aqui e sobe lá. Isso aí. Tá bom? Vocês vão?
Safety for this expedition remains a priority, Sydney reminds his men of the ever-present dangers the Korubo presents.
You must be careful. You can't think that it is safe here, and that the Korubo is only on that side of the riverbank. They can be behind you. They can come this way.
While Bina organizes the boats, Sydney distributes guns to some of the Matisse Indians.
Tá boa essa terra? Tá boa?
Sempre conhece tudo,
Bullets are limited and counted. The use of global satellite positioning equipment is vital to the contact expedition. This compact high technology provides Sydney with a detailed map of the region and gives a record of all Korubo sightings over a 10-year period. It also gives details of all white intrusions from the outside and the location of the last known Korubo village. It is here that he is heading.
We are at the mouth of the Caceteiros River. We will go up this way as far as possible along the river Caceteiros.
On the way up the Caceteiros River, Sydney and his team encounter some fallen trees and the constant possibility of leeches and piranha lurking beneath the surface. The expedition team deliberately leave a trail, knowing that the Korubo will be able to read in great detail who is in the jungle, what they are doing, and where they are going. Sydney also uses low technology for direction. A compass can be as good as it gets in the jungle. Though beautiful to the outside world, the rainforest is not always a sentimental environment. Food has to be killed, prepared, and eaten on the spot. A base camp is established at the edge of the Caceteiros River in an old deserted hunting shelter, close to where the Korubo had been seen in the past. The Matisse use the natural resources of the rainforest to weave rucksacks for the expedition. Then disaster strikes. The radio fails. For Sydney, this is a matter of great concern. He's looking for the Korubo and has no means of communication with his base camp in case of difficulties. During the long jungle nights, there is ample opportunity to share stories. Sydney and the others are curious about Bina's Korubo mother.
Ah, a tua mãe era Korubo? Era Korubo. Você contou pro Xixu? Não. Ele não sabe, não? Ah, você precisava contar.
Essa Xixu é mais novo.
Mas escuta o outro mais velho falar.
As long as they can have a place to hunt and to plant, the Korubo can roam freely within the rainforest. But there are still no signs of the Korubo. So after 20 days in the jungle, Sydney decides to abandon the expedition and return to the main FUNAI post. Without radio contact, he doesn't know that the breakaway group of Korubo have also returned there. Sydney can't be sure whether it's curiosity or their seasonal use of the land that brings the Korubo back. Perhaps it's their need for medical assistance and the treatment for malaria that has made them return. There are still many questions to be answered. In the 2 years since first contact, the Korubo's numbers have fallen from 22 to 17.
Devagar.
Sydney finds out that one child, a 5-year-old, contracted malaria and died. The mother of the child, and also cousin to Shishun, then killed her eldest son, aged 10, who had also contracted malaria. She was afraid the illness she could not understand would spread to the entire group. Sydney is anxious to find out if the Korubo are planning to plant maize at this site beside the main FUNAI camp. If they are, then he knows they're staying for a while. They are. And through Bina, Sydney is able to convince the Korubo that they will be safer at the camp and away from danger or further loss of life. Sydney asks Shishun and Maya more about the shootings and violence they have experienced in the past.
Vai traduzindo para mim, senão eu não entendo. Aqueles três, né?
Over the next few days, Antonio, a medical assistant, and other team members diagnose and treat the Korubo for malaria and other medical problems. Then, just as sustained contact seems to be working well, the Korubo suffer another setback. A child is missing from the riverbank.
They were all taking a bath here. And one of their kids was in the water up to about here. And was taken away by an animal we don't know yet exactly what.
Pelas pernas e levou e a criança desapareceu.
He took him by the feet and took it away, and the child disappeared.
Chorando a morte da...
And now, with these songs, they are weeping over the death of this child, who disappeared in front of everyone.
Todos estavam olhando quando a criança fez
They were all in the water when the child went round and round, like this, and was taken away.
Imaginamos.
Sakakit nani kwaninda nuki vimi mangno kegen chikne mama chete dau sakakian so dau chime umur kapoinda isvene tani choikuro mutani konta atamena ne isno nuki mangno mito nuki mangno.
Viu, Bina? Vocês não querem ficar aqui por causa que lembra? É de ficar triste aqui. Aí só vem aqui, avisa, a gente vai aonde eles estiverem para tratar. Né?
Mas
pode fazer uma lembrança meio...
Mas passa, depois passa. Sente, né? Então, o importante é dizer para eles, para não ir para aquele lado de lá, não ir para baixo, não ir para o lado de lá baixo.
Tem muita doença.
O que quando dalau tibo aquilo boleh kong kisma akit chimo manyangir bo kine chimo manyangir bo ke nuki mi ka mang no kita ukwas isbene tan chos o ma pasano me beriki kine akwas erin mi daw chemetanino kwason chimek uti nano sugi kine.
A gente tá triste igual eles também.
Aí nuki ambi iso champige mimbil ambi bisinange nuki achus sinaneke eri ambi sake eri bi winik mi tobi winike nuki nyake chine away net con ai ini achus bi apat u pagi wasan chusho kai bi apat sinanek Eli apa? Acus. Nuki muka kini geng cik ni.
Uine.
Ai. Cik babi, kuason, merupakan cik ni. Cik ni isugi cik. Ni pun no asal isugi ni pun ni. Bama kan.
That night, the Korubo call on their ancestor spirits for guidance. Sydney rests that night on the boat, trying to regain his strength. The entire team is broken by the terrible events of the day. The following morning, Sydney learns more about the Korubo's complex beliefs. They are concerned that the taking of the child in the river is somehow linked to the killing of Sobral after the first contact in 1996. Their perception of Antonio, one of the medical assistants in the group, is that he is a white shaman, somehow responsible for the rage of the anaconda, vengeance for the death of Sobral. Sydney immediately replaces Antonio with Riley.
Sure.
Now the Korubo have a new white shaman. To everybody's relief, Riley is instantly liked by the Korubo and is able to administer medical assistance to Shishun. Shishun's bottom is badly cut. His injuries bring a welcome light relief. But Riley's real concern is with malaria. Some of the Korubo do have malaria, but for Riley, the urgent question is it falciparum malaria, a lethal form of the disease which can quickly kill if not treated? The worst is revealed. It is falciparum. But in this case, Sydney is hopeful that they will be able to treat the Korubo in time. Over the many months that pass, Bina is able to maintain his strong relationship with the Korubo and demonstrate a new level of trust. This ritual of whipping is called Marouine and is used to raise the energy levels of the Matisse men and instill a sort of discipline in their children. It is a completely unfamiliar practice to the Korubo. Not everybody likes this. Matisse and Korubo, both from the Javari Valley, form an increasingly deeper engagement with each other. The stable presence of the Korubo at the FUNAI post provides a special opportunity for us to gradually understand more about this unique culture. Shishun weaves a shelter as his group settles in. Maya prepares a monkey for her pot, the same metal pot she took 3 years earlier. New hammocks are woven out of bark. Korubo men use blowpipes for hunting and clubs to fight. Poisoned arrows require skillful crafting. Going hunting with the Korubo is still impossible even for the Matisse. Being alone, away from the security of others, could result in another killing. Sydney is presented with a gift, a traditional clay pot made specially for him. It is a significant moment. Sydney learns that giving gifts as opposed to exchange is a special part of Korubo culture.
Agora está bonito. Como é que fala bonito? Tá mal. Tá mal? Vai. Bonito. Como fala bonito? Matisse? É. Bura. Muito bonito é buraquimo. Buraquimo. Muito bonito. E na língua dele, como? Bura. Ele entende bura? É a mesma coisa?
Aham. Mesma coisa que tem outro, assim. Onde tá? Onde me vê, onde tá? Ah, você me vê mesmo? Me vê, me vê.
As the sea of modern humanity closes in upon the Javari Valley, the Korubo now know that there are people outside who are willing to help and protect them. Sydney is determined to bring those who kill Korubo to trial. The other tribes, for the time being, remain in safe isolation. But for the Korubo, with Sydney and his team the only peaceful point of contact, the future remains uncertain.
It's real, it's ready, our stepping stone to life among the stars. On Sunday, December 10th, go inside the space station, only on the Discovery Channel. And what would it be like to live in space? Take a virtual tour of the space station at discovery.com.